I'm kidding.
It's my baby.
Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about productivity. So before I get into the video, I just want to say that I haven't always been the most productive person. Firstly, because I don't think I understood what productivity was, and I don't think that I tried to find out what it meant for me, because that is something that you need to be aware of. Productivity is subjective, even though there is a definition for it, it can also be subjective. So we are living in a super fast-paced world where everything is about how productive you can be, how much output can you churn out, results. I mean, you cannot convince somebody to buy anything if you don't have someone else constantly talking about the results they've had from that product, or how their life has changed. And how do you show somebody how your life has changed, or how do you show somebody results? You have to do the work, okay? And all that work leads to these results, but nobody really wants to know what you did. They want to know what you got out of doing all of that. So I think because we're living in a world that's like that, we have taken out the joy in doing the work. We have taken out the joy in the process, and that's why a lot of people are struggling to be productive, because you look at your work and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to write 4,000 words. I have 2.5 hours. And your brain just has a stroke and you freak out, okay? Because all you can think about is how daunting the task is, how even if you type for 30 minutes, all you can write is one bloody sentence, and you're just like, how in the God's green earth am I gonna do this? What diseases do I need to pretend that I have to get away with having a sick day and not submitting this? And you're just like, it's so much easier to come up with excuses and not get things done because there is no joy in doing the process. So I'm just going to share a few tips on how you can get back to being productive or stop being productive. I hope that these help you. Don't forget to like this video and share in the comments down below what your best productivity tip is. Okay, let's get into the video. So tip number 1 goes and ties into the story that I shared at the beginning about how daunting it is to start, and that is get started. Okay, there is something phenomenal that happens once you get started with whatever it is you're meant to do, and it's just, I can't even explain it, but once your brain realizes that, oh, we are in this, we are doing this, it is more likely to continue doing the task than when you're thinking about doing the task and not actually doing it. And another thing that can help you to get started is to break down your tasks into small chunks. So firstly, you need to understand what it is you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to get done, and break that down into small chunks so that your brain understands that the task is achievable. So for example, if you are meant to write a 4,000 word essay, then you know that you need to have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Okay, break the essay down into those 3 parts. Understand that in an introduction, what is going into that, understand what kind of research is going into the body, and what kind of conclusion you're gonna have. Okay, when you look at it that way, you will see that it's not actually as stressful as you think it is, because an introduction is just a brief summary of what you will be talking about in your body, and your body is where most of the work will go, and your conclusion is just tying everything in together. So at the end of the day, the 4,000 word essay wasn't so bad, and all you had to do was break it down into little chunks and actually get started. That brings us to tip number 2, which is to make a checklist. Okay, this is a tested and perfected way of ensuring that you are productive. I stand by this, okay? Before, I used to make checklists all the time and I never used to cross anything off, and it was just super pointless because I didn't understand the purpose of productivity, or I didn't understand why I was using the checklist. So first, understand why you're doing it, okay? You're doing it to make your tasks more manageable, and you're doing it so that you have your tasks outside of your brain where it's all cluttered and you're anxious and you're stressed, and you've just poured it out on a page where it looks more manageable and more doable, okay? So a checklist is a very, very good place to start. I'm just going to show you a rough example. So I have my journal here where I just write down anything and everything, and every time I have video ideas, I write them down, I put a box, and if I have filmed it, I tick the box. Okay, here I have a to-do list and I got to check off everything. So I don't know if you can see this honestly, but yeah, here I had a to-do list for 2 days and I got to check off some things. But you can also see that some things aren't checked off. Some things are marked as incomplete. But am I upset about it? Am I dying inside that I didn't achieve whatever it is I wanted to achieve on that day? No, I'm not. Because putting it on a piece of paper decreased my anxiety about having a productive day. And being able to tick off even one item on the checklist gave my brain the boost of endorphins and dopamine that it needed for me to still feel like I had a productive day, even though I didn't achieve all the tasks that I perhaps set out to achieve. And that's the point. You need to understand that you are doing your best, and if you went into the day with the best intentions and you put your best foot forward, but you still didn't get much done, the fact that you even did a little bit is good, and you don't need to be beating yourself up about not getting everything done. And that's the beauty of the checklist.
You get to tick things off, and that feels great.
What does that do for your brain? Okay, when you are ticking things off, it gives your brain a sense of positive validation. It's like, oh my gosh, you did that, okay?
You did that, baby. Boo, you did that.
That's what it does for you. Another way that you can reinforce positive validation is for every time that you tick off a to-do item on your checklist, perhaps reward yourself. So if you were going to write your 4,000-word essay, once you have done your essay and completed it, or once you've done the first portion, take a break. Have an iced coffee, do something that you actually enjoy. And actually writing down some of those rewards and breaks into your checklist or into a schedule actually also makes completing the tasks or being more productive during the day much easier, because your reward system is aligned with your work system, which makes your work look more rewarding. Okay? Don't say I never told you, okay? I'm saying okay a lot. Take a shot every time I say okay, but also don't. Prioritize. Once you've done that, we go on to step number 3. If you can, in your checklist, turn it into a bit of a schedule so that you're able to manage your time. So, for example, that would mean when you write a tick box and you write what the task is, you can assign an amount of time to that task. So if you think it will take you 2 hours to clean your room, then do that. And what that creates is a deadline in your mind. And because you have a deadline, you have a goal to work towards, and you are more accountable for whether you achieve that task or not. Another benefit of scheduling your checklist into time portions is that you stop multitasking, because multitasking is not your friend when you're trying to be productive. I know a lot of us think if I can do a lot of things at once, I can get the most done. But no, the idea of productivity isn't about churning out the most amount of work you can churn out. It's about churning out the best type of work you can churn out. That's what is important to understand about productivity. Just because you've done something for a longer amount of time doesn't mean that you've done it well or that you've been very productive. And I know a lot of us can relate to this because there are times when you study the whole day. Okay, you study for 18 hours the whole day, and what is it that you remember in your exam? One chapter or one section. And what did you study? The whole textbook. So hear me out when I say this. You need to concentrate on ensuring that when you're doing your task or performing it, you are focusing in the time that you're dedicating to that task so that you're getting the most out of doing that. That is what productivity is, or that is what it means to me, and that's the definition that I think should make sense. Are you getting the most out of doing whatever task you're doing? Those are the 3 things that I would suggest. I will just summarize them once again. The 3 things that you need to be your best productive self is to get started on whatever project it is you have. Number 2, make a checklist. And number 3, manage your time by breaking your checklist into time apportioned sections. So yeah, I hope that you found this video helpful, and I'm glad that I was able to share it with you. I hope that you took something away from it. If you did, don't forget to like this video, comment down below your best productivity tip or things that you would like me to talk about, and I will definitely get back to you. I reply to every single comment. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another video with me again. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
It's my love, touching you slowly.